Hello, my fellow promo and poster collectors. Welcome to Season 2 of the Poster Packrat. We're kicking things off with an absolute banger, and I hope you stick around for the duration of this video. If you do, please click those like and subscribe buttons. That will help new collectors discover these videos. Most of my channel's focus is on retail posters, and these were posters that were hung in shops like Babbage's, Electronics Boutique, in the offices of arcade distributors. They were used to sell products to the masses, and as such they pack a visual punch meant to hit a square in our amygdalas. My long-standing advice is to avoid reprints. Originals will always look better and appreciate in value. Feast your eyes, my fellow promo rats. As promised, this is the channel's first B1 sized poster, and I picked the arcade series that matters most, at least most to me, that is. I hope you're not disappointed. If you are, try to stay with me. I bet eventually I'll show you the poster of your dreams. This week we're celebrating Rave Racer. And this franchise isn't just gaming royalty. If you could distill everything you enjoy about video games, not just racing games, I'm talking about the very essence of great video game design. For me, that's bright, colorful graphics, visceral and satisfying gameplay, and backing that with a music score that perfectly matches the game, and you'd have Rave Racer. Rave Racer is a perfect video game. Namco made it even better for the launch of the original PlayStation 2 years later in 1995, and it was a system seller then. But before it landed on a home console, it went through several iterations at arcades, and some of those versions were never formally released. Rave Racer began life as two incomplete failed arcade projects, the Eunos Roadster Driving Simulator of 1990 and Sim Drive of 1992. On paper, Sim Drive had a limited release, but I have doubts to that. Back then, it was common practice for Atari of America to test run arcade games, usually at Golfland in Sunnyvale, California. And if they failed, they would never see release at other arcades. And I think the same happened here to Eunos and Sim Drive for slightly different reasons. A failure in a test market would have been too many negative remarks on survey cards or harsh criticism to operators overseeing the machines. So Eunos failed early in 1990, became upgraded with better hardware, namely System 22, that allowed for enhanced visuals and textured mapping, and later became Sim Drive in 1992. Then Sim Drive began testing at arcades, and the mother of all bombs dropped. Sega released Virtual Racing, AM2's first Model 1 arcade game. Reports indicate Sim Drive looked and played like an upgraded version of Atari's hard driving, and if true, I can understand Namco's top brass pulling the plug on it. I like hard driving, but it's slow and cumbersome compared to Virtual Racing's speedy elegance. Releasing a game like that next to AM2's masterpiece would have been a disaster. Namco would have been humiliated by Japan's gaming press and eviscerated by gamers. So Namco went back to formula, quite literally for a third time. Rave Racer is the result of a protracted 4 to 5 year development cycle, spurred by intense corporate rivalry between two titans of industry, Namco and Sega. Such a lengthy development time is the stuff of gaming legend. With that amount of time, a game might never materialize or become vaporware, or ascend to the upper echelons of all-time gaming greats like Mario 64. Thank goodness for us and Namco. Third time was the charm. Rave Racer 1 released in arcades in 1993, a year after AM2's Virtual Racing. Today we're showing the arcade poster for Rave Racer 2, released in 1994, and Rave Racer 2 is more like a point release than a whole new iteration. Namco added a rear view mirror, network linkable cabinets for up to 8 players, night and day environment transitions, and remixed music, a superb list of upgrades. So this being Season 2 of Poster Packrat, we're throwing some red meat to the lions. This is the channel's first B1 sized poster. Before we go further, let's get the graphics up to help indicate size. B sizing is Japan's standard for poster sizing. It starts at B0 and counts up. As the numbers increase, the posters become smaller by half. And here's a common 4.7-inch CD, DVD, or Blu-ray optical disc scaled to size. The B1 is your preferred poster size for Japanese posters. They're big, they're rare, and they're expensive. This Ridge Racer 2 poster is a landscape format poster, but they also come in a portrait format. A portrait format B1 is very similar in appearance to an American movie poster. This poster is in good condition, but it has damage that will affect its resale value. For starters, a previous owner, I'm guessing the original owner, stabbed this poster 8 times with a push pin. Every corner of this poster has been impaled, including the span sections in between the corners. I think it's only fair that the person who did this have the same favor returned, and if I ever ran into them, I will prick them 8 times, starting with their earlobes, and hang them on my wall. I'm just kidding. At least I think I am. This poster also has edge damage on multiple sides and scuffs and finger impressions from handling, so it's not the best specimen. But when you're buying posters of this size and age, they're almost expected to be in this condition. The one silver lining here is this damage almost guarantees authenticity. This poster has a satin finish on its front and back, and I classify the paperweight as medium. Now let's talk poster. What a gorgeous masterpiece this is. I'm a Namco fan if you guys couldn't tell already. And when I think of Namco, I can't help but also think of Sega. They were such rivals, like Capcom is to SNK. Some businesses are meant to challenge and bring out the best in their competition, and Namco fought tooth and nail with Sega. This poster is such a beauty for multiple reasons. Seeing the tight grouping of cars reminds me this is Ridge Racer's first network linkable cabinet. I also like that they're in the tunnel. I know I'm not the only one who thinks of Ridge Racer when driving through tunnels in real life. This series from Namco has had a deep psychological impact on me. When I drive cars in Ridge Racer, it's like flying over land. The combination of every turn and straightaway is almost like having a spiritual experience. Each game is a magnificent piece of technical and artistic wizardry. Everyone who's worked on a Ridge Racer project should feel an immense sense of satisfaction for their contribution to gaming history. I often think of what it feels like to be playing Ridge Racer games nearly once a week. It's a series that can't leave my thoughts for very long. That said, I'm not a big fan of those faint motion blurs seen in some areas of this poster. Even though elements are blurred, I like that I can just barely make them out. I can read Blade, Galaxian 3, Galactic Dance, and Rave War on the red car, and I absolutely love that. I'm ready to live in a post-Armageddon Rave War apocalypse. Can you make that happen for me, Namco? Please. On the blue car, I can make out Pac for Pac-Man and Ridge Racer, motion blurred but discernible. I also like the pseudo reflections on the glass windows of the cars. Low polygon art, when done well like this, reminds me of CG Impressionism. Very beautiful to look at. That improper English sentence isn't great, but this is very common for Japanese posters. Because it's so common, I think it adds a touch of charm to this poster. For my Japanese viewers, they should have included the English word "the," spelled T-H-E, between the words "of" and "century." Then it would have been a proper English sentence. The Japanese text at the bottom translates to Racing with Communication Function, advertising those linkable cabinets for multiplayer. So lastly, what's relevant here is Ridge Racer 2 was released in Japanese arcades on June 8th, 1994. That's not printed anywhere here on this poster, but there's documentation online to prove it. All in all, a very beautiful poster for video game racing royalty. That 4 to 5 years of development time led to an evergreen video game franchise for Namco, Bravissimo. Well guys, we've reached the conclusion for this poster video, and we'll have to say goodbye to this poster for now. On the bright side, I have many more Ridge Racer posters to show you. The way I like to do things is start with my earliest specimen and travel forward in time. This appeals to me, but it might disappoint younger viewers. I have posters for more modern games, but they don't interest me as much as the classics. It's a bit of a conundrum. I might have to leap forward in time to appeal to those younger viewers. So final thoughts about Ridge Racer. Us Ridge Racer fans have a lot to look forward to. As many of you know, Ridge Racer 8 for Nintendo Switch was cancelled around December of 2019. Probably in retaliation against Nintendo for cancelling Namco's Metroid project on Nintendo's handheld. Regardless of those projects being coterminous, we learn Namco hasn't given up on our beloved Ridge Racer franchise. My guess is we'll be hearing of a timed exclusive for Xbox Series X and eventually ports for PlayStation 5 and PC. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Also, many of you might be wondering when Daytona was released. Huh? And the answer to that is 1 year after Ridge Racer. Sega's virtual racing was unquestionably spectacular, but Namco was first to market with a textured mapped arcade game, ushering a new level of realism never witnessed before. It took Sega 1 whole year to respond with Daytona. The rivalry between Sega and Namco was legendary, and us gamers were the ones who reaped the rewards. The only sore spot I have is for those poor engineers who suffered under extreme conditions. People are a resource. If they were car engines, they'd have been redlining day after day, ready to blow a piston. But look at what they accomplished under such extreme measures. The games from this era are like diamonds, and they were created under similar circumstances. Maybe artistic perfection requires such pressure to bring out our best, just like a diamond. If you made it to the end of this video, I hope you enjoyed it and click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more posters to show, but we'll have to return to B2 size posters for next week's video. My plan right now is to mix in a B1 poster maybe once per month. I worked so hard in preparation for showing this B1, it's going to be a surprise for both of us to see what appears next. I'm sure it's going to be a good one, but you'll have to tune in to find out for yourself. Thanks for watching this video, subscribing to my YouTube, and your follows on Twitter and Instagram. Feel free to ask me questions about posters. I'll always do my best to share my knowledge with you. See you next week. Bye for now.